What's going on, everybody? We'd like to welcome y'all back to Sync Music Mondays. That's right, Sync Music Mondays. Every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is music licensing in the coolest form because we are the coolest. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to another week. We are happy to be here. We are live and blessed. And it's a really dope week, man. So shout out to all the listeners on a worldwide basis, man. We appreciate y'all always tapping in. And as always, we're going to get into the word of the day, something inspirational, motivational, get y'all through y'all week. And I kind of really like this word of the day. It's pretty deep, definitely on point. And hold on one second. Let me just pull it up real quick. You know how it be sometimes, man. You try to pull it up and then it lags a little bit. So we're going to get into it right now, though. And today's word of the day is simple but effective. To change your life, you need to change your priorities. Certain faces and places must go. I'll say that again. To change your life, you need to change your priorities. Certain faces and places must go. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. In life, a lot of times when you're trying to elevate to higher heights, do better things, you always got to make sure that your surrounding cast are individuals that'll help you. Faces and places do matter. Sometimes people can hold you back based upon their limited scope. Might not necessarily mean that they're bad people. They might just not know how to change their life for the better. And, like I said, certain faces and places might elevate you. Some might not, and those you got to separate from. All right. And that is the word of the day. But for today, we got a pretty interesting topic. This topic was actually chosen by you, the fans, because what we do oftentimes is, whether it be on our social media account, whether it be on just email, people will send us different topics that they want us to talk about, they want us to tackle, and we here for it. You know what I'm saying? Like we love the listeners, we love the supporters, we do this for y'all. And if any of you would like to send a suggestion for anything you want to hear us talk about, feel free, send it to support@rhythmcouture.com. That's support@rhythmcouture.com. And yeah, if we dig in the topic, we'll definitely dig into it. So this was a topic that came up, and the question was, and this is from Tiffany from Chicago. She said, I would like to hear you guys talk about the situation that happened between Diddy and Cassie, and what are your thoughts? Fair enough, right? So it's a great topic. This isn't a music licensing topic, but it is a music industry, music business topic, because as you all know, we are in the music business, and a lot of things happen in this business. A lot of good things and a lot of terrible things happen. So, we're not afraid to talk about any topic, anybody, because over here we self-made, so nobody can silence us. There are no topics that are off limits, because as we know, there are a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of shows, but because of certain relationships people have, because of certain platforms that their podcast may be on, a lot of those guys is pretty much crickets. You won't hear them talk about it, right? And rightfully so. People don't want to mess up their money, but fortunately for us, like, everything we do is 110% independent, so nobody stops our money. We over here, we alive and blessed. So let's talk about it. One thing that I think is important for people to realize, and I always say this, you can choose your actions, but you can't choose your consequences, right? That should have been a word of the day. You can choose your actions, but you can't choose your consequences. I've been in this music industry for a very, very long time. I've seen a lot of things, a lot of personalities. When I first got in the industry, first got record deals, there's always like industry parties. There's people at these parties. And one thing I think people have to realize is that to be mindful of, for starters, is integrity. I think, like, before musicians even think about getting a record deal, getting songs on radio, or even getting songs in TV and film, whatever your goals may be, I think before you pursue those things, you got to establish your foundation and have a firm foundation in terms of who you are as a person. Because when you get in this industry, a lot of times people will take advantage of people. People are vulnerable. And because of that, people with money, people with power, they take advantage of them. I've seen a lot of people sell their souls for a couple of dollars, and ultimately it's not worth it, right? Like your integrity at the end of the day is most important. Being able to look yourself in the mirror and being able to just day to day live with yourself, right? The actions that you do, like, are you proud of yourself? Are you the person that you are? In terms of that whole situation, I know I've heard a lot of people say, like, why aren't a lot of people speaking up about it? Well, it's obvious, like I said before, it's because a lot of people have relationships and they don't want to, for lack of better words, they don't want to fuck up their money, right? So you're going to see a lot of people are quiet. They're not going to talk about it. And the fact that he settled so quickly, people just want to make it go away. But I think it's weird. It's a very weird situation because, not for nothing, we all grew up listening to Bad Boy. We grew up listening to Big, Mace, Faith, all these people. Like, Bad Boy was a staple in hip hop culture, right? So, I mean, to see and hear these allegations, a lot of us from the industry side, we're not surprised, right? Because I don't put nothing past anybody. But, people ask, like, do we think he did it? I don't know if he did it, but the fact that he settled so quickly is pretty disturbing, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, you just want to make it go away. But me personally, if I knew that I didn't do anything like that and I've never done anything like that, I'd be willing to use every last dollar I have to fight those charges because I know it's bullshit, right? If I know something is false, I'm not going to settle. I'm going to go hard or go home. Like, that's just the reality of it. So the fact that he settled so quickly leads people to believe, like, 1 + 1 is 2, right? Nobody's stupid. I think his attorney made a statement that was suspect within itself, right? Because, and it was pretty abrasive. He's like, just to be clear, just because you settle doesn't indicate guilt. It's like, really? Like, at this point, like, we're playing on people's intelligence at this point, right? Like, so you want us to believe that just because your client settled that he wasn't guilty, it's like, it's nonsense, right? It's like, there's clearly something that was there. There's clearly something that needed to be silenced, and it's clearly something that needed to go away quickly, right? Why? Because it's bad for business. You see a lot of companies, they're starting to detach themselves from him, and they don't want that associated with them because it's problematic. So there was clearly something there. The extent of the truth, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? We'll never know. Only she would know that and he would know that, right? And we're starting to see people come forward, bodyguards, people at parties. But once again, it's like people are silent because for a large duration of that period in time, they don't want to mess up their money, right? So I think that, for a lot of people, a lot of musicians, I think you got to take into account, like, don't sell your soul, man. People in this industry, they'll get you caught up. They'll get you doing things, saying things, all for a couple of dollars, and it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you being able to look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day is the most important thing, right? Like, nothing else matters. So I think, like, no matter who it is, no matter how much money they got, fuck their money, right? You shouldn't be able to be bought. Right, that's just the reality of it. So, it's sad that it had to come to this. And I think, like, something that's important to realize too, and I wrote this down, it's 3 situations that normally reveal the truth, right? It's either money, death, or drugs, right? Because it's like when money's involved, you see people's true intentions, right? Either people are greedy or people can be selfless and giving, right? When you see death involved, like, normally involves money too, because if people didn't have their business affairs in order, then you can see people get real ugly. And drugs, right? When you see people under the influence, like in this case, right? There's a lot of parties where drugs are involved. People start acting crazy, start doing wild shit. And then before you know it, like, things get out of control, right? So being mindful of those situations, being mindful of how you carry yourself and conduct yourself so you don't get caught up in the nonsense. Because there's a lot of nonsense in this industry, you know what I'm saying? And, I think, like, that should be the overall takeaway from this is, like, know who you are as a person, right? Stand firm on your convictions and don't allow people to take advantage of you, no matter who they are, right? No matter who they are. So where does this leave the state of the music industry? Because, truth be told, whether he did it or he didn't, or maybe he kind of did it, There's so many people in this industry that do the same shit, right? Let's call a spade a spade. So, I mean, it's just the culture of people being predatory, taking advantage of artists. So, I think this is something, a conversation that needs to be had. Just because it was settled doesn't mean that the conversation is over. So, I don't think people should treat it like that. I think that people should continue to search for the truth, right? And people should continue to expose the truth, because at the end of the day, like, you got to speak truth to power. That's the only way you're going to get change, right? Like, you can't get change by just kind of going on with the status quo, right? People, they pay off people, they buy off people, and they just want to give them hush money. But that's bullshit at the end of the day. Like, we should be able to be progressive. We should be able to challenge these things head on, right? It's like when things happen, whether it's police brutality or certain topics, you know, whether that be hip hop culture, whatever it is, we want to tackle those issues. We want to be, on the front line for that. But internally, when we have people doing things that are fucked up, everybody's quiet, right? Because it's all political. People don't want to mess up their money. Oh, I can't talk about him because if I talk about him, that might mess up my money, right? Shit is corny. You can't have selective justice, right? It's either you want justice across the board or you playing yourself. So I think with this situation, a lot of other situations, people should continue to search for the truth. I think like sexual misconduct, sexual abuse in any form from anybody is unacceptable. And they should be punished. I don't give a fuck who it is, right? So, people should continue to seek the truth. And if anything, for musicians, it's very important, like I said, know who you are as individuals. Don't allow people to take advantage of you. This industry is very predatory. So just have that firm foundation within yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's important. So, I hope that for all the people involved, that there's healing that takes place, but most importantly, that there's justice, right? And, I'm not just speaking on this situation, but any situation, where there has been people taken advantage of, like, there needs to be a certain level of justice that's served, right? So, that's pretty much my take on that. Like I said, if y'all got other topics y'all love for us to talk about, I'm here for it. Shoot us an email, support@rhythmcouture.com, and we will definitely tap into it. And until next week, peace.